Messages Show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, expanding your business. Tuesdays, finding health naturally. Wednesdays, mentoring our youth. Thursdays, pets we love. And on Fridays, women in leadership. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and donnaguinouard. Along with our hosts, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Weda. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. And Donna, you got your mic muted. This should actually be Monday instead of Friday, because this is our second time in going live.
And you know what they say, third time's a charm, Jim.
I mean to tell you. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com.
And as you can tell, we are live. We do not edit or script what we do.
No, we're not intelligent. That's had something to do with intelligence, whatever that word's about.
What's that mean anyway?
Yeah. Donna, it's so good to be back with you here in the studio. My goodness.
It's good to be back. It's been a trying while for me.
Yes, it has. And we're so glad that you're back. My goodness. She's been through a lot. She's been in our thoughts and prayers. And she had to come back, really, she said, to check up on me and make sure I was,
not
doing
goofing
things
off.
correctly.
Yeah, goofing off. Well, the one thing I will say about coming back now, I had eye surgery. I had a cataract removed. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, they wouldn't do both eyes, just the worst of the two, my right eye. And before, I wouldn't wear my glasses because of the glare on the screen, right? It would come across super glary. And or it would look like I had alien eyes and they would just black out. But when he put in the new lens, Jim, he corrected it to where I can actually see what they call a medium close-up in my right eye. So it's amazing. I can read what's on the screen. I don't have to guess.
I use the Braille system myself.
Oh, goodness.
My goodness. I know that was an ordeal for you and everything else you've been through. And my goodness gracious. A lot has happened since she's been here. On Mondays, we're having a very special show with our good friend, Rennie Gabriel, and a gentleman he introduced me to, Mike Wolf. And let me make a kind of like a public announcement here, if I may. On Mondays, we're going to be covering how to buy real estate with no money down. And they're using me as a guinea pig because they found out, Donna, I can't spell real estate. But also, too, if you or someone you know is in danger of foreclosure on your home, please get in touch with us here at our TV station. I'm all goofed up today, doing 6 shows a week.
Monday.
Yeah. Exactly. Email us at inspiratione360tv. The people that we know can work with you without one single dime out of your pocket. They won't ask you for anything. And if they can help you, they will. Okay? So at least you got a shot at it. And these folks have been very, very successful in helping people get out of foreclosures and things like that. I'm not saying they can help you or everybody. We know that's not possible.
It's worth a conversation, though.
Yes, especially if it doesn't cost you anything.
Absolutely.
And that's what we do here. We provide information that's available. It's a blessing to others because, my goodness gracious, all of us need a helping hand once in a while, Donna.
Well, absolutely. And the beautiful thing about it is there is nothing wrong with getting help. But more importantly, Jim, knowledge is power.
Oh my goodness gracious, yes. Because to share a
No,
little bit about Rennie, we know his story very well.
yes.
Rennie and I are the same age. We're 74. Did you know that? I always like to ask her questions when she's drinking. I'll have a cup or something.
And you think
But
it's tea.
I know it. He thinks it's tea, yeah. But Rennie was 50 years of age, and when Rennie was flat broke. BROKE broke. I mean broke.
Right? With capital.
Because, yeah, he said at 50 years of age, Jim, I was out picking up bottles and cans just so I could try to cash them in and get enough money to buy groceries to feed my family. Now, folks, that's about as poor as you can get.
Right.
And Rennie, I tell you right now, if you contact Rennie, let me put up his
I'll
website
get
here.
it, Jim. I'll get it.
Oh, okay, you'll get it. Okay. If you contact Rennie and say that you heard about it on the show, he'll be glad to give you some great advice, give you some great complimentary counseling, help you answer any questions you got. And he will not charge you one thin dime, because 100% of the money that he does earn on the wealthonanyincome.com goes to nonprofits. And Rennie today is a multi-millionaire. He owns a lot of different apartment buildings. I think over 50 apartments or 100 apartments, something like that. I don't know the exact number. But also, too,
But he's
Rennie is in very many other different industries. So that is the
he
kind of
is.
people that Donna and I associate ourselves with.
But
People who
Rainey is also very sweet and kind and humble.
yes.
Right? Just because multi-million dollars doesn't mean that he's all up his own self,
Mm-mm.
and got his, nose in the air.
Mm-mm.
Because he understands what it means to be broke. He understands what it means to struggle and have too much month at the end of the money.
To give you an example of what kind of a guy he is, during 2020 and the pandemic and everybody locked down and everybody wondering if they had enough money or enough toilet paper or whatever the case might be, Rennie helped each one of his clients, his tenants, excuse me, thank you, each one of his tenants to learn how to build wealth on any income. And as a result, not one single tenant missed a rent payment. That just speaks volumes about the man.
It does. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very, very sweet man.
Yes, he is. We're honored to have him as our personal friend. And we value relationships like that, because that's who we are. People that's a true reflection of us as our audience. And it's just everyday people who we help one another. We admit when we make mistakes. And I'll tell you right now, one thing that's exciting me about today's show, Women in Leadership, the information Donna found was on ladies. Oh my goodness gracious. They don't get the proper recognition they deserve and have earned in the history books.
And unfortunately, Jim, it still to this day is not recognized like it should be.
Absolutely. You are so correct.
And it doesn't matter where you live, in what part of the country. I can guarantee you, whether it's, in, and I'm not talking about, let me rephrase this. I'm not talking per se maybe about an entrepreneur who sets their own wage limit, but I'm talking about when you work for corporate America, that I'm going to say about 95% of the women are underpaid in comparison what they're doing in across the board evenness with a man.
Yeah. And what gets me about the history books, ladies and gentlemen, you let some guy invent a shoelace and he'll be in the history books. But when you hear what some of these ladies have done, holy enchiladas, are you kidding me? And Donna, I'll tell you right now, let's get kicked off into these 16 legendary ladies. We probably won't get a chance to cover them all today.
No, I don't think we will.
They're not celebrated in history books. but their contributions to the world have greatly impacted our society. My
Right.
goodness, Don, these ladies are definitely legendary women. They're entrepreneurs. They made this particular list on the entrepreneurswebsite.com, and it's an honor. It's way past time. It's way past
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely. This
Mhm.
first one, just absolutely amazing. Her name is Eliza Lucas
Pickney.
Pickney,
Mhm.
1739, dying to make a difference.
Mm.
She's known as America's first important agriculturalist for introducing blue indigo dye into continental North America.
Mm.
Eliza Lucas was born in Antigua, on island west of the Indies, in 1722. She attended a finishing school in London where she developed a love for botany. When she was still young, her family moved to the US and her father acquired 3 plantations. At the age of 16, Pickney took over the plantations near Charlestown in the province of South Carolina after her mother died and her father, a British military officer, returned to the West Indies.
Mhm.
After realizing that the growing textile industry was creating a need for new dyes, she began making a high quality blue indigo dye in 1739. Her
Wow.
creation was a success. Indigo soon ranked second to rice as a South Carolina export crop.
Mm.
She went on to produce flax, hemp, silk, and figs. Pickney died in 1793, but her legend lives on. She became the first woman inducted into the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame in 1989.
1989, and the poor lady died in 1793.
Just a couple
That
of
is,
years difference.
yeah, almost 2 centuries later. My
Right.
goodness gracious. And when you think about the dye she invented, I mean, Levi Strauss was pretty proud of that, wasn't he?
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If she hadn't done it, what color would our blue jeans be?
Well, and the thing is, look at it. So everything that she went on to produce is
Mhm.
still in a production today. It's
Oh,
still being
yeah.
used. Indigo, flax, hemp, silk, and figs. Every
Mm,
single one of those is being
yeah.
used today.
There's another lady that we want to share some information about. Have you ever heard of Mary Katherine Goddard? Goddard. She was an entrepreneur, and her accomplishments have already been noted as a part of American history. She grew up in New London, Connecticut, before moving to Providence, Rhode Island with her mother in 1762. Her famous first began when she became the first woman publisher in America in 1776. Wow. I mean, think about that.
1766.
Oh, 1766. You're correct. Her
My
eyes are
eyes
better
got
than
better.
mine. Well, her eyes are better, and I think her brain is too, to be honest with you. But in 1775, Goddard became the first American woman postmaster in Baltimore, Maryland. But she is most famous for printing the first signed copy of the Declaration of Independence that include the names of all the signers. She remained postmaster until she was placed in 1789, then continued as a printer and bookseller until her death in 1816. My
Isn't that
goodness
something?
gracious. What an honor for her to be able to be printing the very first copy of the Declaration of Independence.
Right?
In a man's world, what does that say about her talent? Because that document was so precious to our founding fathers. They didn't want Luke or Billy Bob or anybody else who was second rate. They wanted a first class printer. And that's
Right.
the beauty in it. And there's a message in that. It didn't mean anything. She was a woman. She
Right.
was the best in her field. And that's the way, people should be evaluated. It really is. Whether they're black or white, male or female, makes no difference.
Right. Young or old
Huh?
has no bearing.
I'm playing with her today. She hadn't been here in a while. I got to play with her some. Young or old, huh? What'd you say?
Here
But
we
it
go.
it just amazes me that she earned, through her credentials and reputation, the right. Think about that. She earned the right to be able to be selected
Right.
to print the first copy of the Declaration of Independence. I'm really impressed with that.
Right.
I really, truly am.
This site was truly, I thought, a treasure trove of
It was.
unsung women heroes.
Mm.
And, you know, again, we need to celebrate women more.
Mhm.
And for those of you out there, men who are listening, celebrate the woman in your life. Celebrate your mother. Celebrate your wife,
Oh, yeah.
your sister, whatever female figure is important to you, who has helped your character, helped you grow, given you love. Celebrate them. Just pick up the phone and celebrate them.
Yeah, I can think of all the lady teachers I had growing up, and in school, the values that they instilled in us, and this is right, this is wrong, this is why it's right, this is why it's wrong. And those ladies, I don't think on this side of the Jordan, I don't think any of us, you know, whether them and me collected, if we sat down and talked, I don't think it would be possible for us to realize the impact that they had in our lives.
Right.
And my goodness gracious, women are great nurturers of young kids, male and female. That they really are. And you ladies have the ability to give us an anchor in life, because everybody needs an anchor of life in life when the winds of adversity blow, you know?
Mm-hmm. We do. And I think it's important, at least for me, when I have young people in my life, whether they're related or they come into my life and they're just friends, it is super important to me to not only obviously be a good person and a good friend, but reach out and help them. I feel like that is part of why we're here, and that we get to that certain age, you know, where we're here to help people on their journey.
Yes. You know, when you said that, it brings to mind, I saw an interview several years ago. When I say several years ago, several decades ago, where this guy was wanting to be recognized as a hero. And he says, I'm not a hero. He says, so many times we get puffed up with pride and we want to take credit for something that's a gift from a higher source. He says, that higher source gave me that particular gift to be used in that moment of need to help that individual or help those individuals. He said, that's all I did.
Right.
And I never have forgotten that. And that is so true, because I've met a lot of people who are, you know, like Rennie says, when it comes to, you know, wealth is a team sport, is the way he puts it. You need help. And that's why he loves to help others. And it's very important for us to remember that our gifts and our talents are here for us to use to be a blessing to others. And goodness, you know, Donna, this next lady, oh my goodness.
Off the hook.
Yeah.
So this is 1875, and her name is Lydia Pinkham, and she is the Ann Landers of the 1800s. Some would call her the Ann Landers or Dr. Ruth of the 1800s. In 1875, Lydia Estes Pinkham of Lynn, Massachusetts, converted her herbal home remedies into a big business by skillfully marketing her products toward women and educating them about health issues. Pinkham's vegetable compound became one of the best known patent medicines of the 19th century. Pinkham was deemed a crusader for women's health in an age when women's needs weren't being met by the medical community. Cooper Laboratories bought the company in 1968, though pills and a liquid stamp with Pinkham's name are still available in some drugstores.
Holy smokes.
Right?
And you know, the beauty in that, Donna, she didn't do it for the money.
No,
Uh-uh. She didn't do it for the money.
no, she as a female saw a area that was lacking in
Mm-hmm.
society, and she stepped up to the plate to make a difference.
Yeah, there's a message in that for entrepreneurs because we've said many times we talk to people who are interested in being successful in business, and we ask them, what is it you want to do? I want to make money. Well, that's the poorest excuse on planet Earth,
It's
because
the
if you're
byproduct of what you do.
yeah,
Making
it's
money
it's the
is the
reward of your
byproduct.
efforts. It's the
Right.
reward of your efforts. Yeah,
I mean,
and
that'll come.
yeah, and you need to be focused on how your product, whether it be a physical product like a cream or something like that, or if it's a program or whatever it might be, uh, you got to focus on how can this be a blessing to others? What problem does this solve in their life? My
Right.
goodness. And then them buying from you, that's the reward of your efforts. It just really amazes me how many people do not understand that.
Right.
This next lady, my goodness gracious, 1905, Madam C.J. Walker. She was carving the path for women entrepreneurs. She's considered one of the 20th century's most successful women entrepreneurs. They refer to her, they call her Madam C.J. Walker. She built her entire empire out of nothing. Her parents were former slaves. She was orphaned at the age of 7. In 1905, she created Madam Walker's wonderful hair grower, a scalp conditioning and healing formula. And Walker had a personal connection to the product since she suffered from a scalp ailment that caused her to lose most of her hair. So this lady had skin in the game, you might say. She eventually expanded her business to Central America and the Caribbean. By 1917, this lady held one of the first national meetings of businesswomen in Philadelphia. The Madam C.J. Walker Hair Culturists Union of America Convention. Her hard work and perseverance carved a path for women entrepreneurs. The African American hair care and cosmetic industry, and the African American community as a whole. I mean, my goodness gracious, look at all the things that she had to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Her parents were former slaves. She was orphaned at the age of 7. But that just defined who she was, because she knew she was made from tough bricks, so to
Right.
speak. She wasn't going to let circumstances define her.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a huge message in that in there, Donna.
Oh, I'm a big believer of that, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly think it's what we stand up to
Mm-hmm.
for everybody. But, today is about, women leadership. So I think it's even more important for women, especially when we have young children around us. And it is so important for us to show the way for our children, because they see how we act and react, and we all know they're sponges, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when we act a certain way, or we are defined or not defined by circumstances in our life, that is what helps define the growth pattern of our next generation.
It certainly does. And it's just amazing how, was it Zig Ziglar that said your attitude will determine your altitude?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. And Henry Ford was famous. He's one of the people I think was famous. I don't know who actually came up with the phrase. It could be Henry Ford, but if you think you can do a thing, or if you think you can't do a thing, you're right. Oh, my goodness gracious. And it just blows me away that, we can be anything we want to be. We can our focus should be on how can we be a blessing to others.
Right. What can
I
we
keep
do?
going on to that.
What can we do to help somebody's life be better? To improve in somebody's life, one way or the other. So this next woman, I think we've all heard of her. But 1909, Making Over America. She brought makeup from the stage to everyday life and slowly developed a global empire. Elizabeth Arden was actually born Florence Nightingale Graham in Woodbridge, Ontario. Moved to New York at the age of 30 to pursue her dream of building a cosmetics corporation. There, she began working with a chemist to create a beauty cream, something new for the cosmetics industry at that time. After traveling to Paris in 1912, Arden became the first person to introduce the concept of eye makeup to American women and offered the first makeovers in her Fifth Avenue salon. Arden died in 1966, but her brand name became as well known across the U.S. as Singer Sewing Machines and Coca-Cola.
Wow.
So obviously this article is a little bit older, but just to give you the nuts and bolts of it, at the end of its fiscal year in June 2007, the company reported a 1.1 billion in net sales, up more than 18% from 955 million in 2006.
You probably didn't see me smile there for a moment when you're talking about cosmetics, because a funny story popped in my mind. Remember Mary Kay, Cosmetics Mary Kay, and her top producers, I'd say, top reps. They
Cadillac.
get a pink Cadillac, right? And this guy I knew out in Arizona, his wife was a top rep, and his truck was in the shop, so he had to go somewhere. And he had to, the only vehicle available was his wife's pink Cadillac, so he had to drive it. And unfortunately for him, fortunately for his buddies, they saw him driving it and stopped and says, "Hey, you got anything that make me look a little better today?" It started, guys just started ribbing him up one side and down the other. "Oh, my truck's in the shop. I had to drive this thing." That's okay, man. We understand. It's the feminine side of you. I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have shared that, but us guys, man, we love to rib each other and stuff like that. And the guys would do that.
Well, yeah. And, at the end of the day, though, they're all thinking, man, that's a nice Cadillac. And it didn't cost them a dime.
Yep. They knew his wife was successful. And that was an amazing thing. And I'll tell you something, in 1910, Coco Chanel revolutionized the fashion industry, one accessory at a time. And a quote that she said was, "May my legend prosper and thrive. I wish it a long and happy life." And her legend certainly has lived on since she died back in 1971. At the time of her death, Chanel's fashion empire brought in more than $160 million a year. That doesn't sound like much money in this day and time, but $160 million in 1970. What was gas prices then? About 45 or 48 cents a gallon, I think.
Yeah,
or something like.
I was going to say right in there, because I remember milk was running like 25 cents a gallon.
Oh yeah, and that's back when someone, if you ask how much it costs, well, it's just chicken feed, because chicken feed didn't cost much. You go down now and try to buy a bag of chicken feed, you better have some deep pockets on with some buck stuff in there, right?
Right. Absolutely.
But she was a wonderful, enterprising lady, a true entrepreneur, and she was born in Saumur, France. I believe you pronounce that. Is that Saumur? I think it is. And she opened her first shop back in 1910, selling only women's hats. In 1921, the company had introduced Chanel No. 5, the very first perfume sold worldwide. And from there, the name Chanel became known across the world today. And today, Chanel's creations continue to attract a wealthy, celebrity-filled consumer base. Chanel she'll always be associated with her little black dress, her timeless suits, shoes, purses, and jewelry. As Christian Dior once said, with a black pullover and 10 rows of pearls, she revolutionized the fashion industry.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
Absolutely.
And these ladies we've covered so far, Donna, they had humble beginnings.
Very humble beginnings,
Yeah.
but they all had a vision and they all had a purpose. And it wasn't just, it wasn't the money. It wasn't they said, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to seek money. That came with it. It was their driving purpose, their life's calling is what chose them to take the path that they took.
Yeah. And every one of these women, they had a very successful game plan. Many times in business, regardless of what level of business it is, people want to go after the big prize. And, think about Sam Walton. Sam Walton built his empire off of everyday people. And these ladies here, their focus was on serving an everyday person. That was it. And think of all the masses of everyday people out there that you could be a blessing to. That should be a tremendous inspiration to you, I think.
Oh, absolutely. This next lady was, I've never heard of her until reading this article. 1932, Olive Ann Beach, skyrocketing to success. Olive Ann Beach co-founded Beach Aircraft Corp in Wichita, Kansas, alongside her husband, Walter, at the height of the Depression in 1932. Together, the Beaches grew the business from 10 employees to 10,000. 270 of their Beach Model 17 Stagger wings were manufactured for the U.S. Army during World War II. But after Walter died suddenly from a heart attack in 1950, Olive Ann became president and CEO of the company. During her nearly 20 years in charge, she transformed the company into a multi-million-dollar aerospace corporation. Olive Ann retired in 1968, but continued to serve on the board of directors until 1982, just 2 years after the Raytheon Corp purchased Beach Aircraft. Beach became the company's first chairman,
Emeritus.
Thank you. Yeah.
Whatever that word is.
Yeah, my tongue's not going to go around that one today, folks. Before dying at home in Wichita in 1993, Beach Aircraft Corporation had a lasting impact on general aviation and producing some of the most popular aircraft of the 20th century.
It's really amazing in that story. Her and her husband were true visionaries. What year did her and her husband found Beach Aircraft?
1932.
At the height of the Depression.
Right.
And what people would think, my goodness gracious, if people can't afford a car,
right?
How are they going to afford an airplane? Are you kidding me? But it just goes to show you, keep the faith, believe in yourself. Don't ever give up.
Right.
Don't ever give up, because only quitters quit.
Right.
That's losers quit.
Well, winners and I think one of the other interesting things in this article, Jim, is that they did really well. And then when her husband died, she became the president and the CEO. And within 20 years, she transformed that company into a multi-million-dollar aerospace corporation. So they went from 270 Beach Model 17 Stagger wings manufactured for the U.S. Army in World War II during the Depression.
Oh, yeah. It just really amazes me how people, another company started in the Depression selling cakes out of the trunk of their car. And then,
Yes.
they had a little bakery it was just one building with a curtain. In
Hmm.
front was the bakery, behind was their living quarters. Only a curtain separated the bedroom and the living quarters from the bakery.
And we've all seen them. Even if you haven't
Oh,
eaten
yeah.
them, every
Oh,
one of us has seen them.
I know I still fudge once in a while and get some, because those treats, when
I
they,
tell Evelyn that you go
oh,
after them every
she
now and
knows,
then.
she knows. I mean, she, I still get corrected on that, you might say. But anyway, no, she's really good. She didn't say anything. But in 1960, they built the ideal bakery that they needed, and they didn't know what to call their product. Because these folks during the Depression, they were running
Right.
around in a 1928, was it a Whippet? I think it was, car, selling
Yeah.
nickel cakes out of the trunk during the Depression. And 1960, when they finally kept working and saving their money and they built that bakery, they said, what are we going to call our desserts? And they named it after their granddaughter. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you guys may have heard or may have tried some of Little Debbie snacks.
Yep.
Aren't they great?
Yeah, they
Oh, I love them.
are.
I love them. I just wish they loved me as much as I love them. It'd be health food for me.
Oh my
My
goodness.
goodness. In talking about these ladies here, this lady here, I tell you right now, Ma Perkins. Did you ever hear of Ma Perkins before this, Donna?
Yes.
You had? Okay, I
Yeah.
haven't. Okay. In 1933, Ma Perkins, she became Mother of the Airways. She's a radio legend who captured the hearts of Americans with her kindness and down to earth point of view. Wow. Actress Virginia Payne brought the character Ma Perkins, also known as America's Mother of the Air, to life in more than 7,000 episodes of her radio soap opera. She was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, and she made her radio debut at the old age of 23 when the show premiered on a Cincinnati radio station back in 1933. The character of Ma Perkins was a self-sufficient widow who owned and managed a lumber yard and offered her homespun advice to those who sought help. The show ran on NBC and CBS until 1960, and Payne played the title role over the entire span. She died in 1977, 11 years before she and her alter ego, Ma Perkins, were introduced into the Radio Hall of Fame. Now imagine a 23-year-old young lady playing the part of Ma Perkins and all of the good advice. She was a trailblazer. She really was. Goodness. That's kind of like reminds me a little bit of Vicki Lawrence. She was 19 or 20 when she started playing.
Mama.
Yeah, Mama. Yeah.
On Carol Burnett.
Oh my goodness gracious. That was one of the, if you haven't, for you young folks out there, if you have not seen, the Carol Burnett show or Mama's Family, go to YouTube and check it out. That is if you like good, clean humor.
Yeah, one of the funniest skits they did was with Tim Conway, and Dick Van Dyke was on there. Mm-hmm. And of course, Vicki Lawrence and Carol Burnett. Mm-hmm. And Tim Conway was known for going AWOL, right? He wouldn't go with the script, and he was absolutely brilliant, funny. And it was the one you have to look up is about the elephants. Yeah. It is absolutely hysterical.
And you will see
the Carol Burnett show with Tim Conway and the elephants.
Oh yeah, and you'll see them cracking up on live TV. This was live TV. And here's Tim. He was a tremendous comedian. He was funny. Oh, I don't want to spoil it.
Robin Williams of early years.
Oh my goodness. I tell you, he is a scream, tremendous. And Harvey Korman couldn't keep a straight face
Oh
around Tim
no, poor
Conway.
Harvey.
And another one is the dentist office. That's another
Oh my
classic.
gosh, that one was too funny. That one was too funny. Yes.
And we
Good
share
show.
that with you. We share that with you today because, laughter is one of the best medicines on planet Earth. And you need to treat yourself to some good humor because,
Absolutely.
we were, we just took it for granted growing up like that. Donna's younger than I am by about 30 years. But anyway,
Not
but anyway, we just took stuff like that for granted. Today, you folks, young folks, you got cheated. I mean,
Oh
when it
yeah.
comes to good humor, some of the stuff we saw in the 70s would not even make the airways today. Forget the Jeffersons and All in the Family.
Oh right. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, they
No,
would be on
wouldn't
the 6
happen.
p.m. news and they'd be peeling potatoes up the penitentiary for some of the stuff they did. But
Absolutely.
we understood it was just good humor. And
Right.
we've got a little bit sidetracked here. And I think you want to pick up with Estee Lauder. I think I'd be the
Actually,
next
I'm going to
lady.
jump to Brownie Wise.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's cool.
So interesting about her. So in 1950, Brownie Wise, the planner behind the party, her knack for sales, charm, and ambition helped launch a product as common to most American kitchens as forks and knives. Wise was a single mom in 1939 when she got her lucky break. After selling Stanley home products in the early 1950s, she realized that Tupperware would be sold more efficiently at home parties than at department stores. Wise's party plan marketing system began outselling the stores, and that's when Tupperware's inventor, Earl Tupper, took notice and hired Wise as vice president of the company. In 1958, Tupper fired Wise after the press suggested that she was the key to Tupperware's success. Wise died in 1992, but her making tactic lives on to this day. But her marketing tactics lives on to this day. Companies such as Mary Kay Cosmetics and Cookie Lee Jewelry have followed in her footsteps by adopting the home party marketing method to selling their own products. And that's just to name a few. I think we can honestly say that there are hundreds of marketing programs that people do from home that are just like that. They have a home gathering to reach the masses. And that's what it was all about. Instead of just going one person, you bring people into a comfortable setting and you can talk to 8, 9, 10, 12, 20 people.
Exactly. Exactly.
One time.
It just amazes me. Her name, Brownie Wise, is just like it sounds, BROWNIEWISE. And I tell you right now, what does that say about Earl Tupper? He realized that, if he hired her as vice president and his business just boomed, but look at the ego here.
Oh, yeah.
This is pitiful. This is borderline ignorant. And also stupid. It really is. I mean, because he took notice after he hired her as vice president of the company, but he fired her after the press suggested she was the key to Tupperware's success.
Right.
Donna, if that had been me, I would agree with the press all the way to the bank. Really, I would have. I really would have. I mean, my goodness.
Right. That's
rather
pure
than
ego
praise
talking
her,
and what he did.
Yeah, that's rather than praise her for her foresight and her ability to believe in his product.
Right.
And to say what a blessing it was for her to believe in my product that strongly to create an entire new marketing thing. And it's a win-win situation for us all. And it's, she should be honored. But his rear end overloaded his brain.
I was going to say he looked like the south end of a donkey that was heading north.
Yeah, that attitude gets about as ugly as a wart on a hog's rear end. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just, and you see, the sad part of it is everybody knew the true story, that he's got an
Right.
ego the size of Mount Everest. I mean, he should be ashamed of himself. My goodness. Of course, I know he's no longer around, but I mean, that's pitiful. That is
Yep.
plumb pitiful, because giving people the proper respect they've earned and, praising them publicly, that would have just exploded sales.
Mm-hmm.
Think about
Yep.
how the ladies would feel about that, because ladies were the customers.
Right.
How they would feel if a man stood up and said, "This lady here had great foresight. She saw things that I didn't see, and because
They
of
would
her."
have increased their sales even more.
Precisely.
I guarantee you in my house, and I'll bet you in fact, I don't even have to bet. I know it's the same in yours. You don't go up to Evelyn, nor does my husband come up to me and say, "Honey, what do you think about these dishes?"
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
As long as y'all can eat on them, you're happy, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of like, if we get something new in the house, and Ellen put a comforter that we got on the bed. It's very specialized, very special to us, because it's got pictures of all of our family there. And but if she does put something on the bed or spices something up, I don't run around going, "Oh boy, we got new pillowcases," because guys just don't get excited about that.
Right.
And that's just the way we're wired, but we do appreciate it. We may not say it, but we really do appreciate it, because it shows the love and compassion that the lady has in what she's doing. And that's exactly what Brownie Wise did. She demonstrated the love and compassion that she had to make Tupperware. Everybody's heard of Tupperware.
Right.
I mean, I would think everybody has. Most people have, that's for sure. And it'd been interesting to know, of course, we never will know,
Right.
if Brownie Weiss had not came into Earl Tupper's life, how well his business would have been, because he didn't really have anything proprietary. No. He really didn't.
No, he didn't. Mm-hmm. He did not.
And I tell you, yeah. Well, I think we're getting that one here.
For one more.
Oh yeah, we still get these. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm real glad to be here. Glad to be up. This lady here, we still enjoy getting her magazines in. Lillian Vernon. Mm-hmm. And 1951, they call it the Mail Order Madness. Before the company went private in 2003, Lillian Vernon's empire was worth more than $238 million.
And she was pajamas to get something from that catalog.
Oh yeah, I mean, everybody. I mean, I used to love looking through that catalog. It was a treat. Mm-hmm. And she was born at Leipzig, Germany in 1929, and she came to the U.S. in 1937 when the Nazi threat intensified. Back in 1951, ladies and gentlemen, she decided she was going to start a mail order business, and named for her Mount Vernon, New York home. And after a second divorce in 1990, she took Vernon as a surname. But Vernon used $2,000 of her wedding gift funds to buy a variety of matching purses, belts, and placed an ad in 17 magazines. Soon, $32,000 in orders came flooding in. And she published her first catalog, the Vernon catalog, in 1956, offering personalized combs, blazer buttons, collar pins, cufflinks. And by 1970, Lillian Vernon Corporation hit $1 million in sales. And we talked a little bit earlier about how much $1 million would buy in 1970 if gas was like 45 cents a gallon or something like it. It was under 50 cents a gallon. I remember that. But the company expanded its items to encompass holiday decor gifts, household items, fashion accessories, children's products. Toys. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. After 51 years as CEO, the personalized gift pioneer stepped down in 2002. The company, which filed for bankruptcy protection in February, was acquired by Current USA. The company's name is Current, Current, USA Incorporated. and they got it for $15.8 million.
So if
My
I
goodness.
recall right, Jim, Current was the company that used to make, because I used to buy those Current cards. Do you remember those?
Can't say that I do.
Current cards, and they were some of the cutest dadgum little cards. This was when you actually wrote and sent notes in the mail to people, right? And it's a big thing. You always sent a thank you note and thinking about you. And I would buy those cards from Current catalog, and they were absolutely so sweet. Little, there was all different kinds, but the ones I always liked, of course, a big surprise was the animals and the nature scenes.
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah.
Right.
I remember, there used to be a lot more personalized things you could get. And I remember after when I got married, we ordered some Christmas cards, and I'm trying to remember exactly how it was, but it's very unique. I've never seen anything like it before. I didn't see anything like it before, and hadn't seen it since. But you'd open it up, had a little mailbox, and had a little letter like sticking out of the mailbox. You pull it out and had a little note there. Right. And it was very, very unique. Current USA. My goodness, we're almost out of time.
We are. I don't even think we really have quite enough time to get into this next one.
Well, let's see here.
Miss Ruth Handler, 1959. Creating an American icon, the Barbie doll. She changed the way little girls played and dreamed, and was forever left her stamp on American culture. Handler came up with the idea of creating a doll that looked more like an adult after noticing that her daughter preferred to play with paper dolls that looked like adults. Although her husband didn't think the idea would sell, Handler debuted Barbie, her daughter's nickname, at a New York toy fair in 1959. Handler and her husband, Elliot, were already selling dollhouse furniture and other toys through their company, Mattel, based out of their Hawthorne, California garage. Within 5 years, Mattel became a Fortune 500 company. In 1967, Handler became president of Mattel Inc., a position she stayed in until 1974. Her legacy lives on today, and Barbie brings in more than $1 billion a year for Mattel. That's a lot of potatoes.
Oh, yeah. You can buy the groceries, pay the rent, and go downtown on a Saturday night with that kind of money. It's really amazing. And we think about these ladies here. Many of them we talked about, I had never heard of before. And or we may have recognized a few products along the way, but we didn't realize the mind, the foresight, the vision, and the energy behind
and the name behind the products.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. I tell you, I'm still hung up on that young lady that was, she was her parents were former slaves, and she was an orphan by the age of 7. And Madam, I'm looking for a name here, Madam C.J. Walker.
Yes.
She didn't let anything like it define her. And so many times out here in the world today, we're hearing things how, because you're this or because you're that, whatever, you're handicapped. And the only thing that gets handicapped in the real world is the gray matter between the ears.
Right.
It really is.
That's about the truth. And that's the only thing that's going to stop you, folks. It doesn't mean that you don't need a break from time to time and a little slowdown, but don't let it stop you.
There you go.
Don't let it stop you. Jim, we are out of time.
And I'm out of quarters. I can't buy any more time.
I know it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in today. Donna, so good to have you back with us. And
good to be back.
You bet. And you've been sorely missed in more ways than one. You really have. And we close every show with remember that you deserve to be loved. You need to love yourself first, and then you can love others. And as Donna likes to say, love yourself enough to give yourself
grace.
Grace, absolutely. Because many times we're very quick to forgive somebody else, but kind of slow to forgive ourselves. Be sure and forgive yourself first. And most importantly, once again, very quickly, as time is very short here, if you know someone that is in a financial situation with their home or something like that, and you'd like for us to put them in touch with someone that can help them, I'm looking for our website right now. I'll just say it. Email us at inspiratione360tv if someone is in the danger of losing the home, foreclosures, taxes, whatever. We can at least put you in touch with someone that can maybe help them out of that situation. But I can guarantee you, they will not ask for one single dime.
Yep.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you. Those of you that view us around the world in India, Pakistan, Europe, Philippines, Canada, Mexico, even in the United States. I think we got one or two viewers here. But anyway, thank you so much. We'll see you on Monday. We'll be back with Rennie Gabriel and Mike Wolf. We're looking forward to that. They're the guys that's helping us in the world of real estate, how to acquire real estate with no money down. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, folks.